Hello everybody and welcome back to more political chatter. In this video we will be talking about Bernie Moreno, a candidate for U.S. Senate in Ohio, and why Republicans should not nominate him if they want to flip the seat away from Sherrod Brown. So, as I just mentioned, the Democrats do hold the Ohio Senate seat currently, and this is a top flip opportunity for Republicans in 2024. The Republicans, they're definitely going to be able to flip West Virginia, in my mind, and I think they know that. But that only puts them at 50 seats. Democrats are likely to retain the presidency, so Democrats still have power if only West Virginia is flipped. So the next most flippable state, the Republicans would really eye Ohio and Montana. And Ohio is definitely one of these states that is very much a state that they can flip from blue to red. In 2016, Donald Trump won here by 9 points, or around 8 or 9 points. In 2020, Trump won here again by 8, but during 2018, Sherrod Brown won by, 3 or 4%. So we do have quite a swing of voters, in between the two Trump years and the midterm elections in 2018. So voters are willing to vote for the other side here. But Donald Trump and Donald Trump's candidates have really had a lockdown over Ohio lately. As I said, in 2020, while the nation shifted blue, shifted Democratic, Ohio voted for Donald Trump by practically the same margin as they did in 2016. There was almost no shift. So that just shows you how much Ohio likes Donald Trump, how much, his populist appeal works in the state of Ohio. And in 2022, just to add on, J.D. Vance, the Trump-endorsed Senate candidate, won by 8, the same margin that Trump did over Tim Ryan. Tim Ryan, mind you, was a very strong candidate. And now it's looking like we have another Trump candidate in this race, Bernie Moreno. But I don't feel that he is as powerful as a candidate as J.D. Vance or really any other Republican in this race. And the other U.S. Senator in Ohio, J.D. Vance, just endorsed him. So now Bernie Moreno is being considered much more of a major contender and possibly a favorite right now to win the Republican nomination for Senate. We already have quite a crowded field. He's not already in the race, but we have Matt Dolan, who's a state senator. He ran back in 2022, got, lots of votes. Will once again. And then we have Bernie Moreno. That's it. We don't have many in already, actually. Wow, I didn't know how few we had in the race already. But Frank LaRose, the Ohio Secretary of State, is also very much expected to get in. So that it will be a very competitive primary between Moreno, Dolan, and LaRose. So looking at Bernie Moreno, he does have that J.D. Vance endorsement that really adds a whole new factor to this race because now he's really seen as the Trump candidate in this race, the candidate that is trying to get the Trump voters to come out for him in the primary, similar to what J.D. Vance did in 2022. J.D. Vance was able to get that Trump endorsement. Now it's a question of can Bernie Moreno get this Trump endorsement too? And I don't know if Donald Trump will be as open to endorsing so many candidates as he did in 2022. And at this point, that's because at this point, it is seen as more of a curse than anything. Looking at 2022, in key swing states, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, New Hampshire, just to name a few, all of Donald Trump's hand-picked radical candidates lost. Now, sure, J.D. Vance was a Trump candidate and he did pretty well, but J.D. Vance is a pretty good candidate for the state of Ohio. He is a populist, a solid conservative, while Bernie Moreno, here I have his website up, he is so much more radical, if you will. Okay, he is much farther to the right, just in terms of policy, opinion aside, and everything. I think the common consensus is that Bernie Moreno is very conservative, very much more than most Republicans. Definitely establishment Republicans like Matt Dolan, Frank LaRose, Warren Davidson. Definitely much more conservative than the other candidates in the race, in the Ohio Senate race, or possibly getting in soon. But Bernie Moreno is definitely one of these radical far-right figures, fits in with Herschel Walker in Georgia. Herschel was a hand-picked candidate by Donald Trump. Trump endorsed him. What do we know? He lost. Georgia is one of those states. Arizona, Blake Masters, hand-picked Senate candidate from Donald Trump, seen as one of the most extreme Senate candidates in the nation. He ended up losing. Adam Laxalt, endorsed Trump candidate in Nevada. He was seen as one of the strongest swing state Republicans. He still lost. New Hampshire, I don't know if Trump officially endorsed him, but he did have the backing of like most Trump allies and everything. But what's oh my God, I can't remember his name. Wow, once the midterms are over, we're now like, who are these people? I don't even know. My knowledge of the midterms is long gone. I don't even want to think anymore. But there was someone in New Hampshire. Well, it's Chuck something, right? Isn't it? I think. I don't know. Anyway, but the point is, and then we could go into governor races too. Kerry Lake in Arizona. That's like kind of the only example. Doug Mastriano, of course, in Pennsylvania. Tudor Dixon in Michigan. Tim Michels in Wisconsin. There's Derek Schmidt in Kansas. Wow, there's actually a lot of examples. All of these Trump candidates ended up losing. We will mark them. They all lost. Every single one of them. Well, I mean, in the key swing states, but Trump's candidates did awful. And Bernie Moreno is definitely someone that I could see Donald Trump endorsing, and one of these guys where it's like, oh, he's not very strong electorally at all, and he might lose. And I think that it will be a very competitive race. But as I said, J.D. Vance did endorse him. J.D. Vance said something about Bernie Moreno. How am I not finding it? But anyway, I don't know. But anyway, J.D. Vance did endorse Bernie Moreno, so he is, now a major candidate in this race. But they should not nominate Bernie Moreno for Senate, okay? That is just so clear at this point. We do not have any polling in the Republican primary race, nor do we have any polling for the general election. That is what we need to see, is these head-to-head matchups. Bernie Moreno versus Sherrod Brown, Frank LaRose versus Sherrod Brown, Matt Dolan versus Sherrod Brown, to see who these stronger candidates are. Because looking at this field, looking at the extreme candidates that Donald Trump put forward, that was not the right strategy. They should have nominated more moderate candidates. But yeah. So anyway, Donald Trump's performance in 2022 was a failure because of the type of candidates that he nominated. The point is that they can't make the same mistake, or they probably will make the same mistake in 2024. But the point is that they shouldn't, because if they do, looking at how Kerry Lake did, Blake Masters, Herschel Walker, Tim Michels, Tudor Dixon, Doug Mastriano, the list goes on, they are just not good candidates, even for a state like Ohio, I feel, because of that incumbency factor. We saw Doug Mastriano do so poorly against Josh Shapiro in the Pennsylvania gubernatorial race, and Josh Shapiro wasn't even the incumbent in that race, okay? He was not even the incumbent. We have to talk about how much Sherrod Brown's incumbency factor helps him, especially if it's a race against Bernie Moreno, seen as an extreme candidate, because voters, in 2022, they might have been a little stuck between J.D. Vance and Tim Ryan. But if we're looking at 2024, on the Democratic side, we have a popular incumbent who voters know. These independent voters, they're going to be looking at it saying, we have our incumbent senator, we know him, we like him. Or do we go to the other side, to someone who is very extreme, and we don't really like that much. I mean, someone that is just way out there, because Sherrod Brown, the Democrats, will really be running a good campaign here if it's against Bernie Moreno. He will make everyone know that he is an extremist, that he is a radical, and that is how Sherrod Brown will win. So the message to Ohio Republicans is you can't nominate Bernie Moreno for Senate. That's just a fact. There's Frank LaRose, Matt Dolan, both would do better, but Frank LaRose definitely the best candidate to nominate, and he should be announcing soon. So thank you all for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That would help me out a lot. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.